Hello everyone, this is Katie and you're watching the OCD Illustrated channel. Today I'm going to continue talking about effective treatment for OCD, which is exposure and response prevention. An important part of doing exposures is being able to track your anxiety or discomfort. The way we do this is using a subjective units of distress scale. To start, decide how many points are going to be on your scale. I like using 7, partly because it was just the first way I learned, but also because it has a wide enough variety to really cover the whole gamut of anxious behaviors, while it's limited enough to allow each number to have a specific symptom attached to it. So I'm going to label this Katie's anxiety scale because this is my scale with my symptoms of anxiety, and hopefully it's a model you can use to make your own. At the low end of the scale, you have 0, which represents no anxiety, feeling calm and collected, just really relaxed and good. On the other end, there's my 7, which is the worst anxiety possible or a panic attack. At each number, I'm going to write down the symptoms that indicate that level of anxiety. For making your own SUD scale, you want to think about when you start sweating, when your heart starts beating, if you're shaky, if you feel queasy, if your thoughts are racing, etc. For me, a 1, which is pretty low anxiety, is when I start feeling a little bit queasy and my muscles feel sort of vibraty, but I'm not actually shaking. At a level 2, I start having intermittent tics, my muscles feel tense, and sometimes I start jittering a bit. At a 3, I'm having pretty big jitters, like my legs going up and down. My eyebrows are probably scrunched together, and I'm feeling pretty sick. At a level 4, my speech becomes pressured, and I start needing to move around. I'll typically be mashing like Play-Doh in my hand or pacing, just anything to move. At a 5, which is feeling pretty darn anxious, I start to stutter, and I can feel my heartbeat in my ears. Finally, close to the top of the scale, at a 6, I really can't put sentences together because I'm stuttering and I'm forgetting my words, and I'm probably crying and rocking. And then at a 7, worst possible anxiety or panic attack, I guess the best way I can describe it is feeling like I'm gonna die. So now that I've finished my SUD scale and you have a model of what one looks like, let's talk about what you can do with it. So the most basic thing you're going to use your SUD scale for is to track your anxiety over time, and to talk about it with your therapist or coach or family members or whoever does your ERP with you. So for example, you could say, I'm doing this exposure and my anxiety peaked at a 5 and after 30 minutes it was down to a 1. You're also going to use your scale to create your hierarchy. So when you have items, you look at them and go, how anxious will this make me? And if it's a 1 or a 2, that's you just got to live with it and suck it up. If it's a 3, 4, or 5, that's your ERP work zone. And if it's a 6 or a 7, that's it's too hard for now. I also divide my scale up into like what anxiety can I hide and what I can't. So for me, like a 1 to 2 is not visible to others. At 3, I can mask it, and a 4 to 7, people are going to know something's wrong. And the final tidbit is that if you ever hear anybody talking about a fear thermometer, that's the same thing. It's more often what you call it for kids. Thank you very much for watching and taking the time to learn more about the SUD scale, and I hope you'll join me for other videos about OCD and exposure response prevention.